Well, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rose, and finally, today I am going to give you one of the videos that I have been promising you. I have promised you 2 videos, and this is the first one. So this video is about how I met my husband. This is one of the most requested videos in the comment section. Like, a lot of people are telling me, oh, Rose, when are you gonna tell us how you met your husband? So this is the video. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. So the way I met my husband is actually a bit weird because how I met him is that I was actually accusing him of being a scammer. Okay, so this is how it went down. So as you all know, I have shared in a lot of my videos that by the time I was meeting my husband, I had actually given up on online dating. Like, I was meeting a lot of weird people. I was like, it wasn't working out for me, even as you know, which I'm gonna get into the story. Even, you know, when I went to the US, I had also met that person online and it didn't work out. So I felt like maybe my star is not in online dating. Nyota. But this particular day, I received a notification from one of the dating sites that I had joined, which I thought I had deleted my profile from that website, because I had deleted my profile from all websites, according to me. I was involved in a lot of websites. I was in Badoo, I was in Tagged, I was in Afro Introductions, I was in Christian Cupid, I was in International Cupid, I was in a lot of dating websites. Actually, I don't know if I have mentioned this, but I had actually even joined Military Cupid, which I was kicked out of. That time, Military Cupid was actually for the members of the military to connect with each other, but now it has been opened up and civilians can join. And then I couldn't prove I couldn't prove that I was a member of the military, so I was kicked out and I was given a warning. So I'm just trying to show you that I was involved in a lot of dating websites back then. So I thought I had deleted my profile from all of them. But it turned out that there were some that I forgot. Like, as I said, I was involved in a lot of them. I'm sure even there were still some out there that I forgot to actually delete my profile. So anyway, this particular day, I get a notification from International Cupid, okay? And it says, the message says that I have a message. So I was like, but I deleted my profile. Like, how can I have a message? I was like, this is weird. But since I had time, I was like, okay, let's check it out. Let's see what's going on. And the message I received was quite weird. You know, the grammar, everything, the way it was written, it looked like it was written by a scammer. You know, these scammers, they do that purposely. So if you don't pick up on the grammar, then they know, you know, they can scam you, okay? So for me, I was like, okay, so I have time, let me entertain this scammer. So I was like, I went to the profile, and the profile actually said women in Europe only, or something like, don't contact me if you're not in Europe, something like that. And for me, I was very clear on my profile. I was in Kenya, I'm a Kenyan, I'm in Kenya, like everything was there. So I was like, why are you contacting me, and yet you just want women in Europe? And furthermore, your messaging is like, why don't you work on your grammar? Like, if you're gonna scam people, you know, work on your grammar so you can sound a bit more intelligent. Okay, I was a bit rude. So this person is like, excuse me, why are you saying all these things to me? Like, why are you accusing me of being a scammer? I'm like, it's so clear, okay? You're looking for women in Europe. Obviously, scammers want to scam people from Europe, from Canada, from the US. So you are looking for women in Europe, so you are looking to scam women in Europe. Then he was like, okay, I can prove that I'm not a scammer. So, okay, first of all, the reason why the grammar, you know, is not correct is because English is not my first language. So but I can prove that I am who I say I am. You can see my photos and I can prove that I am the person who is in the photos. I was like, okay, fine, let's do this. So he gets on a video call because I was like, get on Skype right now, let's do it. So he gets on a video call and I'm like, uh-oh, he's not a scammer. He is, okay, even if he is a scammer, okay, he is the person who is in the photos. Because usually scammers use other people's photos, but they are not actually the person in the photos. And he did move around, and he did a lot of things to show that he's real. He's not like a pre-recorded video or a filter or something. Although in those days it wasn't as advanced as it is now. Right now people are using all kinds of softwares to fake things online. But in those days it was a little bit easier to confirm that the person is real. As long as he gets on a video call and you make him do something random and he does it, and then you can see that it's a real person. It's not a pre-recorded video. These days people are putting other people's faces using softwares. They put other people's faces on a video call, and it's a big mess right now. Like, it's a mess. So long story short, we got talking, and I apologized for accusing him of being a scammer, and we started talking, and it was actually very strange because we just hit it off straight away. We were talking and we couldn't even switch off the video because we had just a lot to say to each other, and we just didn't run out of things to say, and the conversation was moving very well. And from that moment on, we just kept talking and getting to know each other, and just vibing. Like, we were really vibing well. And it wasn't long until we were like, we were like, hey, how about we pursue this, this long distance relationship and see how it goes? And I was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. And we started now with the long distance relationship, which was really challenging, honestly. Because, as I keep saying, a long distance relationship has a lot of opposition, and the opposition that I faced was some of his friends who were discouraging him from speaking to somebody in Africa. They were like, why didn't you stick to what you said? You said you wanted women in Europe, so why did you go ahead and contact somebody in Africa? And the thing is, I guess he kept talking about me to his friends, and they just kept, going against me, and they didn't know me. And I remember one particular time I woke up in the morning, and he actually broke up with me. You know how they do it? I received this long email, with reasons as to why this cannot work, and how everything is wrong, and I'm wrong, and I was like, and how his friends have convinced him that I'm wrong for him, and it's never gonna work, and I'm so far away, and I'm probably using him for green card, and I'm using him for his money. Mind you, he had not sent me money up to that point. Actually, that whole relationship, if I was basing that relationship on whether he was supporting me financially, as most of you do, a lot of you who are doing online dating, you're like, oh, I met this guy and he's sending me money, so this is serious. If I was measuring my long distance relationship by whether he was supporting me financially, this wouldn't have worked, because he wasn't, okay? I'm being honest here, he wasn't. So when his friends started accusing me of being a scammer and wanting to use him for money, I was like, excuse me, have you been supporting me financially? Think about it. And as far as, okay, like, I had a strong case, because I said, as far as me using you for a green card, I had that opportunity already. And as Africans, about going to the US, okay, our dream is always about, I want to go to America, I want to go to America, myself included. I was, oh my goodness, when President Obama took power, and I think I have mentioned this in one of my previous videos, when President Obama took power, I knelt down and I told God, I said, Lord, before this president leaves office, you must make it happen. I must step my feet on American soil. Now, guys, this is what I want you to to understand. Um, I had been watching, as a lot of you have been watching American movies, and you have been watching people from your village that have gone to America, and you've been watching what they have been doing. And I was like, I want to go to America. And another thing I want to mention here is when you pray, okay, or when you manifest, or whatever, avenue you are using, whatever higher powers you believe in. For me, I believe in God. When you pray, please complete the prayer. Tell God exactly what it is that you want. Be specific. For me, I was like, I just want to step my foot on American soil, which I did. But maybe I should have said, Lord, may I find favor to also stay in that country, to possess that country, which I was possessing. Like when I landed there, I was like, I possess this country. Mchanga inikubali. But the thing is, as I was praying, as President Obama was taking oath of office, I think I should have completed that prayer. Then maybe God would have sent me somebody. Maybe he wouldn't have sent me that particular person who, things didn't work out. Maybe he would have sent me somebody who would have married me, and we would have had a good life, because I wanted to get married. Okay, I didn't want this whole game of playing games and things like that, because as African women, I was in my 30s, and you know how it goes. You reach your 30s, and then you're like, oh my God, I want to get married. So for me, I wasn't like looking for somebody to use for green card, because I know some of you will be in the comment section saying, oh yeah, you just wanted to use somebody for green card. Yes, I wanted to go to America, but I wasn't using somebody for green card. I wanted to go to America, get married, live a happy life, live a happy family life. That's what I wanted. So anyway, going back now to my now husband accusing me of, or his friends accusing me of using him for green card, I said, I have already gone to the US, and when things didn't work out, I came back, and I didn't have to, honestly. There are so many people who live in the US without papers, right? There are so many illegal immigrants in the US. But for me, because that wasn't my purpose was to go there and just live there legally. And also I wanted to get married. So I was heartbroken when that didn't work out. So I sent him a screenshot or a photo of my visa, my K1 visa. I was like, look, this is a K1 visa. I was there. If that was the only reason why I was online looking for people, I would have stayed, okay? I would have. So I had a strong case there, okay? And before we continue, because now you're like, Rose, why don't you tell us about, that whole US process and everything? I'm going to touch a little bit on that, because I don't think I should make a separate video for that, because I have mentioned that story so many times. So anyway, what had happened was... I met this guy on Afro Introductions, and it's funny how the people who I have met on these dating websites, people who seemed like it could lead to something serious, it always started out like accusing somebody of being a scammer. Because even this guy, when I met him, he was like, oh, I can see you're from Kenya. I'm coming to Kenya next week. Or was it next month? I don't remember the exact time. These things happened long time ago, guys. So anyway, he was like, I'm coming to Kenya. And I'm like, okay. And then, because usually scammers, when they contact you, the first thing they're like, oh, I'm planning to come to your country, or something like that. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, and what exactly are you coming to Kenya to do? And he was like, I'm coming to meet some web developers. And I'm like, why would you be meeting web developers from Kenya when you're from the US? And to be specific, he was from New York. And I'm like, New York, like one of the capitals of the world. And then you're like, you're gonna meet web developers from Nairobi. He was like, yeah, actually I am. I've been working with web developers from from Africa, from Asia. And I was like, okay. At that time, I didn't realize actually these big companies do work with web developers from third world countries, because they don't want to spend a lot of money, because they know if they work with web developers like from New York, they're gonna pay a lot of money. I didn't know that back then. So I was like, that doesn't make sense. You sound like a scammer. Like, how are you looking for web developers in Africa? So anyway, we got talking, and then he was like, no, actually it's true. And he proved it as well. He was like, yeah, I am actually coming. And I think he sent me he sent me proof. So anyway, we got talking, and this relationship was weird from the get-go. I don't even know, like, if you ask me what I was to that person, now I understand what I was, but as I was communicating with him, I don't know what I was. But we got talking, and he came to Nairobi, and I have mentioned this before. The first meeting was not about me. He was just coming, as I said, to meet his web developers, and he was coming to meet other people. He had some friends in Nairobi. We just met briefly. And then, of course, he did come back, and that time we met, and that's when we talked about the K1 visa and everything. We had actually discussed K1 visa online on video calls, and then that's when we seriously discussed it and everything. And as you know, we had issues. We had lots of issues. I remember even the time I decided that I should introduce him to some of my family members. I decided to introduce him to my aunt and her family, because I wasn't so sure about introducing him to my grandmother, and I was like, if I do this, and you know how we are in Africa, like if you take somebody there, then we are arranging weddings. So I wasn't so sure about that. And I remember when I introduced him to my aunt and her family, we got into a fight, because my uncle was talking to him, because my uncle is fluent in English. I think he's fluent in English, but according to him, anyway. So then he accused me of leaving him with my uncle to have, he said he was having pointless conversation with my uncle, and he didn't want to talk to him. But for me, I felt like, these are two men having a conversation. This is my uncle who I respect, and I cannot like inject myself into their conversation. So I pulled back a little bit and let the two men have a conversation. Apparently that was a big mistake, and he won't talk to me. And I noticed that he was very cold, and he won't talk to me on our way back, and he won't talk to me the whole night. He won't talk to me. So in the morning, I was like, did I do something wrong? And oh my God, I shouldn't have asked that question, because he blew up. And you know how they blow up, those people from the US? Sam. He was, F this, and you know, and all this cursing and profanities. And I was like, yo, calm down. Like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even have apologized. Have you ever been in a situation where you apologize to somebody, and then you're like, you know what? I take my apology back. Because it's like, if you apologize, you make things worse. So he's accusing me of ignoring him the whole time, and letting him have a pointless conversation with my uncle, and he didn't want to talk to him. And so all this to say, we were having a lot of problems, and as I have mentioned in all my previous videos, a lot when I talk about this, he had erectile dysfunction, which he had not disclosed to me. So he used to create this drama, I guess, just to avoid me asking him, hey, what's up, what's going on? So anyway, long story short, we proceeded with the K1 visa. And the relationship, as I have mentioned, was up and down. And we went through with the application, and it was approved. And I went for my interview, and I was granted the visa, and I traveled to the US, and I got there. And one thing I must mention here, and I think I have mentioned before, is that he didn't make a big deal of my arrival. He was just there, and it's like he didn't even prepare that somebody was coming. And this was a big deal, you know, as an African actually, and going through the K1 visa, getting the K1 visa and actually landing in the US. It should be made a big deal. He did not make a big deal. I expected balloons and American flag and, you know, a big deal. I got nothing. Anyway, he picked me up with his ex-wife's car, and we drove, and the whole thing was weird. Anyway, we got there, and I think I have mentioned this before. As soon as his son, he had 2 children, a daughter and a son. As soon as his son saw me, he hated me immediately. You know, it's a very bad feeling to know somebody hates you and you haven't done anything to them. Like it's a very bad situation to be in, because that boy, he was 13 years old. He hated me immediately. He saw me. Even the gifts that I had bought with the instructions of his father, you know, the father sent me money, and he told me what I should buy for his son, for his daughter, for his ex-wife, you know. Him and ex-wife had a very strong connection. They were friends. For me, I think I was just there to make the ex-wife jealous so she can take him back. I have mentioned this before. There was a conversation we had with him at some point, and he said that his ex-wife always wanted him back when he's in a relationship. And for me, I felt like, what is more serious than bringing somebody all the way from Africa, you know, to the US? It sounds very serious. So if anything would make her take him back, that should be it, right? So these people had a very strong friendship. They used to text and call each other and visit each other and everything. Sometimes he would even be lying next to me, and he would be calling out her name, you know, in his dreams. So the whole thing was just weird. The reason why I was there was just to make his ex-wife jealous so she can take him back. And for me, I felt like he felt I would be so appreciative of being taken to the US, since he kept saying that Africans want to go to the US, you know, Africans dream of going to the US. Because I remember even as we were breaking up, I told him I'll go back to Kenya. He was like, no, you won't. No, you won't go back to Kenya. No African comes to America and goes back to Africa. I was like, I'll be the first one then. So, and he was, you know, talking, you know, badly about Africa and about my country. And I was like, I don't care. That's my home. You know, I was born a free woman, and I will go back to my country. So another thing I want to mention, I think I have mentioned this before, is the incident where he tried to take me to a sex toy shop and you know, buy objects to insert in my body without my consent. That thing still pisses me off today. The thing is, with these people, with some of these people you meet online, as I say, a lot of them do have issues. It's really up to you to decide what kinds of issues you can deal with and which kind of issues you cannot deal with, all right? Because the reason why their women have left them is because they cannot put up with their BS. But we as Africans, I feel like maybe we are more, I suppose we can put up with a lot, right? So anyway, this man felt that because he has taken me to the US, it's like I'm his object, and he can do with me whatever he wants, right? Including buying objects and inserting them into my body without my consent. And this is so wrong. This is so wrong that somebody would think, well, because I brought this African to America, then, you know, she will do as I say, and she should, you know, he used to treat me like, the reason why I even gave up on that whole American dream and just decided to go home is because of also the way he was treating me even in the house. Like, he would make me sit, there was this small chair. You guys, there was this small chair in the house, very small, like a small stool, very low. He would force me to sit there if he wants to talk to me. He would force me to sit there, and he's sitting on like a desk chair, and he's swinging like this, the way I'm swinging, and he's lecturing me while I'm sitting there. In fact, the time when he was talking to me about how I should steal his cousin's identity, I talked about this. He said, well, the only way I can help you, because I said, what are we doing? This is a K1 visa. Are we getting married, or what is happening? He was like, well, I'm not getting married, but what I can do is I can help you get papers to stay in the US. And I was like, how are we going to do that? And he made me sit there on that small chair, and then he's swinging like this, and he's telling me, well, I have this cousin, and you can take her driver's license and her social security number, and like, I was like, how can, like, how? He was like, well, you are going to be paying her some amount, and then you're going to use her papers to work and live in the US and do whatever you want in the US. I was like, so you want me to end up in jail? Because it's one thing to live in the US illegally, like without papers, and then it's quite another to steal an American citizen's identity. That would have ended me like under the jail, you know. You know, look at me, I'm a Kenyan, I don't even have anything close to American accent, and now this man is telling me that I can use his cousin's ID to stay in the US. So all this to say that this person felt like he can just do whatever he wants with me. He can suggest that I steal somebody's identity, and to hell with me, like I could end up under the jail. He didn't care. He could take me to toy shops and insert all kinds of gadgets inside me, and he could do it. It's like, since he couldn't get it up, he just wanted also to mess me up, you know. That's how I felt, and I think I have mentioned this before. So anyway, after all that, and after I returned to my country, this is when now I decided, you know, to hell with online dating. I'm done. In fact, I'm done with men because I felt like I was not lucky in love. I was not meeting the right kind of men. I was just attracting the wrong kind of men for some reason. I feel like I'm a good person. I have positive energy. I am a good person, and I don't know why I kept attracting bad people. Like, things were just not working out, okay? I briefly got involved with somebody who was, okay, that was a big mess. He was insane. He used to throw temper tantrums like a crazy person. Like, oh my goodness. That was insane. That was absolutely insane. It was very brief, and it was crazy. He was violent. He was accusing me of dressing up trashy and going through my closet and throwing all my clothes on the floor and asking me, where do you go when you're wearing this one? What are you doing with these clothes? Why do you have a wine glass in the kitchen? Oh my God, it was a big mess. So I was like, I'm done. I am completely done with men. And this is when now I deleted, as I said, all the dating profiles, and I just, my plan now was to make money, okay, to work hard, make money, establish myself. I was actually saving up. Even by the time I was meeting my husband, I was saving up because I had a plan. So my plan was just to establish myself, build myself a little house and buy a dog. I wanted to buy a dog and just have work on my business, and I knew that I could make it. So anyway, I showed, let's go back now to the story. I showed my now husband my K1 visa, and I'm like, okay, as you can see, like, I had an opportunity to go to stay in the US, and I could have stayed if that's all I wanted, and I didn't stay because for me, I was looking for a husband. I was looking for a relationship, a genuine one, And I just wanted to be happy, to find somebody to be happy with. That's all I wanted. And I wanted peace. Like for me, in fact, as now we were establishing this relationship, I told him peace is the most important thing in my life. Like love is good, but you could be in love but not peaceful. You know, there are people who are so like madly in love with each other, but they drive each other insane. You know, constantly fighting and all this, and it's not peaceful. For me, I wanted a love that is peaceful. Like peace was the most important thing in my life, okay? If you are not gonna give me peace, I don't care about that love, okay? I will rather live without it. So I was able to convince him that I wasn't using him for green card. But for that, actually at that point, I didn't even care. I was like, okay, fine. If you think I'm using you for green card, I had given up on men anyway. So like, okay, whatever. But we were able to sort out that issue. In fact, we got on a video call, and I feel like if we didn't get on that video call, I don't think I'll be here today, because I had given up. So then we progressed with the relationship, and after a while, about 3 months actually, after about 3 months, we decided that I should apply for a visa he was living in Greece. He's from Denmark and he was living in Greece, and I should go to Greece to visit him. And for me, I wanted to see where my home, if that will end up being my home. I wanted to see how the place looks like, because when I went to New York, that place we were living was insane. Like, it was horrible. My goodness. You know, as I have mentioned before, we had rats, we had fleas, we had roaches, especially roaches. Like, roaches used to crawl. You know, you are sleeping and you feel things crawling up your night dress. It was disgusting. Like, that building should have been blown up, like, in my opinion. So I wanted to go and see where I'm gonna be living if I end up getting married to this guy, because at that point we were actually casually talking about, oh, what if we get married and things like that. So long story short, went to the embassy, the visa was rejected, the application was rejected, and I had a strong case, guys. I had a strong case, if I may say so myself, because I had applied for a few visas previously, so and were rejected, so I knew how to actually build a strong case when it comes to visitors visa or Schengen visa application. So this was a Schengen visa, and I had a strong case, but it didn't work. So then when the visa was rejected, I thought now he will ghost me, because previously when I had applied for visas and the visas were rejected, those people just slowly got busy and slowly, and then they just disappeared. Or some of them, there was one person who just disappeared from the face of the earth. So for me, I was like, okay, this is it. The relationship is done. He's gonna disappear. The visa was rejected. So I started pulling back. I was replying the messages with 2 or 3 words, just waiting for him to disappear. And then he was like, Rose, why are you acting weird? Why are you replying my messages with 2 or 3 words? I was like, well, since the visa was rejected, I'm just waiting for you to like be on your way. Since in the beginning, actually, we wanted women from Europe anyway. So now, as you can see, it's gonna be tough for us, because I'm African. I'm from a third world country. Getting a visa is difficult. So I'm just waiting for you to disappear. He said, I'm not disappearing anyway. Actually, I just wanted you to try. If you got the visa, it would have been best. But for me, I was like, if you don't get the visa, I can always come to Kenya. I don't even need to apply for a visa. In those days, they just used to arrive in Nairobi and get the visa on arrival and pay 50 euros. So he was like, all I have to do now is just book a hotel and everything, and then come and pay the 50 euros, and then we can finally meet. So we got talking about that, but while we were planning all that, somebody again came and whispered in his ear, a woman, a friend of his, and she said that he shouldn't be traveling to Africa. It's very dangerous, and how does he know that I have not planned to do something to him or something, and again, she said that these African women tend to go for European men just so they can cross over to Europe, and I probably have somebody waiting for me in Europe, another African, an African guy waiting for me. So then again, he brought this issue to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, I am not dealing with this anymore, okay? Either you make up your mind or we are done. Like, I'm not playing these games with you. I don't know those friends of yours. Like, I haven't communicated with them. I don't even know how they look like. You keep sharing my photos to them and talking about me to them, and I don't know them, okay? You're the one I know. So, it's really up to you. Like, I'm done. I'm not fighting this fight with you. So, and then he brought another issue about our zodiac signs not matching and a lot of things. And at this point, I felt like he was looking for excuses for us to break up. So I was like, okay, fine, then we are done. You don't have to, look for excuses. The zodiac signs, using you for green card. I have another man waiting for me in Europe. Like, you don't have to do all that. And as far as money is concerned, the only money he sent me was that money that I used for applying for the visa, and I sent all the receipts. Every penny that he sent was gone with the visa. I did not have anything. So again, he did not support me financially. Okay? So I was like, you know what? I am doing this with you because I thought you were my, my hope of finally finding love and getting married and having a husband of my own. But I can see this is not going to work. So I'm reverting back to my original plan. Okay? So good luck with your life and bye-bye. So, and then he kept, sending me emails like, oh no, you just blew this out of proportion, like you are overreacting, I'm just telling you what my friends were telling me, and I was looking at the zodiac signs, and I've never seen couples who have succeeded when they are this whole zodiac sign stuff. And he kept explaining, and I was getting more and more irritated until he said, you know what, okay, forget about all this. Let's get on a video call and try and salvage this relationship. I was like, okay, let's see. And then we got on a video call and we talked about everything, and we sort of like sorted out the problems. And then slowly now we started communicating and sorting out the issues. And I was like, if you are having problems with your friends in terms of them actually talking about me negatively, I would like to have like a conference with these friends of yours, okay? Like, let's have a video call with all of them, and then they can face me and tell me how they know me and how they know that I have somebody in Europe waiting for me, or how they know that I'm using you for green card, or how they know that I'm using you for your money, and if they can bring evidence that I have used any of your money apart from the money you sent for the visa. He was, no, that's not necessary, okay, I understand, I'm done, I'm not going to involve my friends anymore, and things like that. And I was like, and this is the issue. The reason why I'm talking about this is because a lot of you who are in a long distance relationship, you're facing these problems. You have these friends and family members, actually also some of his family. Okay, anyway, you have these family members and friends who don't know you. You are in Africa, they have never met you, but they have opinions about yourself just based on what they have seen on YouTube, what they have seen online. And now they're just generalizing and putting you in that box. You're a scammer, you're using him for green card, you're using him for that. I mean, there are bad people out there, but there are also good people out there. There are people who are genuinely looking for love online. You just want to get somebody to love you and to marry you and live happily ever after, right? But you have these people, these naysayers, who come and just, you know, put this poison and poison, they poison the guy. There are so many long distance relationships that have broken up because of these friends and these relatives. Okay, so if your guy is the kind of person who can be easily, you know, swayed to lean on what the friends are saying, then you are not lucky, my sister. You are in trouble. So going back to our story, we got talking about how he's gonna come to Kenya, and we started now seriously planning the trip together. And he told me, he was like, you know what, Rose, what if, okay, what if I come and we see like we are the connection is real, like everything we've been feeling online is real, and we feel we could get married. I was like, okay, that could happen. He was like, why don't you go to the registry and find out the kinds of papers I would need in case we do decide to get married. I'm not saying we'll get married. It really depends, because we haven't met in person, but we could get married. I was like, okay, no issue. I'll go to the registry. I went to the registry. I went to Sharia House in Nairobi. I got the all the requirements, all the documents that he needed. He needed his papers to be translated into English because they were in Danish. And I sent him the list, and he got all the papers translated and notarized and everything. And the day came for him to arrive, and I went and picked him up. Now this is where this story gets crazy, because as soon as he arrived, we actually went straight to Sharia House, because we said it's better we just go and give the notice. You know, you're supposed to give that notice. It's better we just give the notice, and then we go and start getting to know each other while the notice is cooking. I know it was a risk. We even talked about it. We were like, while we were at the gate at the Sharia House, we were like, oh my God, this is a risk. But we were like, yeah, well, whatever happens, happens. If we decide we are not gonna do it, we'll just go and cancel the notice, right? So, and then the day came for us to go and get married, and we, you know, got ready early in the morning, and we went to Sharia House, and we got married. And we just had a simple ceremony. We just had 2 witnesses and us, of course, and the registrar. It was a 5-people wedding. So we got married, and in fact, we left Sharia House and went straight to the embassy, to the Greek embassy. And then we didn't know how it goes, you know. And then the Greek embassy was like, no, you have to go back and get a certified copy of your marriage certificate. So we worked on that, and then we went back to the embassy. And it was a bit tricky, because the Greek embassy said they couldn't give me a visa. I needed to go to the Danish embassy. When I went to the Danish embassy, they said, no, because your husband's address is in Greece and you're gonna process your residency papers in Greece, you need to enter Greece with a valid Greek visa. And we went back to the Greek embassy. But at that time, the Danish embassy gave us a letter and stamped our marriage certificate, acknowledging that they actually acknowledge that marriage, you know. So, and then they gave us a letter to take to the Danish embassy, explaining that the Greek embassy needs to issue the visa because I am gonna be living in Greece. So once we had handed over that letter, actually my visa was processed when I was just sitting there. They took my photos, they took my fingerprints and everything, and it only took like half an hour, and it was in my passport, and that's it. Then we started making plans now for us to travel to Greece and start a life it was a risk because you're just traveling, you don't even know where you're going to a place where you don't speak the language, you don't know anyone, this is the only person you know, anything can happen. So yes, it was risky, but for me, luckily, it worked out. The first 2 years, I must say, were a bit tough. Strange environment, no language, getting to know this person that you are now living in the same house with, and you're getting to know him at the same time, and you're married to him, and you are in that honeymoon phase also. It oh my God, it was chaotic. It was, oh my goodness. So anyway, we somehow managed. After 2 years, we now, I guess, got the rhythm of life, of marriage life, and yeah, that's how it all went down. I must say, when I got there, when I should process my residency papers, also it got a bit complicated because apparently the embassy was supposed to stamp my birth certificate, which they had not. And it was a bit complicated because my birth certificate had to be returned back to Nairobi to be stamped and then returned back to immigration in Greece. But luckily everything worked out, a bit stressful, but it worked out, and I got my residency permit. The first permit I got was valid for 5 years. And then the renewal was very simple, actually. I just filled out one form, and the renewal was not an issue. So that's how it all played out. The next video I'm gonna come with is the video where now you're asking me, okay, so Rose, you got married in 2015. It's been almost 10 years because we've already celebrated our 9th year anniversary. So we are in our 10th year of marriage, actually. And the question that you've been asking me, for those of you who know that I've been married since 2015, you've been asking me, Rose, what about children? You've been married for a very long time. What's up? What's going on? Do you have children? This question, it's a question that invasive question, okay? Because what you're doing by asking somebody this question, you're going all the way into their uterus, into their ovaries, and asking this person, what are you doing in your uterus, and what are you doing with your ovaries, and you are going all the way, So, but since we are this society where we feel entitled to ask people some really personal questions, whether it's online or whether you just meet somebody and they just had a wedding maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and then you're like, okay, and you're touching their tummy and you're like, oh, what's going on here? What's going on? Why are you not doing something? Since we are that kind of society where we feel we are entitled to that information, I am going to create a video and answer those questions. But for me, I feel like the main reason why I'm creating that video is that there are things that I want to expose. There are things that I want to show you that can happen that you didn't know that could happen. As far as fertility treatments are concerned, as far as IVF is concerned and things like that, there's a lot of information that I'm going to share with you that you didn't know these things. I didn't know these things could happen, but they do happen, apparently. And this has left me with trust issues, because a lot of you, after I share that video, you're gonna be like, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you go to this doctor? Why don't you go to this clinic? Why don't you do this? I have trust issues. So that is the next video that I'm gonna now come with, where we're gonna discuss that. And then I guess those 2 videos are the videos that I had promised you. Now you know how I met my husband. You know I've been married to him since 2015. We are now in our 10th year of marriage. We already celebrated our 9th year anniversary a few months ago. So that's where we are. I thank God for the life that I have. Yes, God is good. And I will come now with the other video. It's gonna be a little bit difficult, that video, but I will come with it. And then now I guess you will know where I am. And then now I guess we close that chapter, and then we go back to our online dating and our tips. Okay, thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel today. My name is Rose. On this channel we talk about online dating, interracial dating, intercultural dating, relocating. Those are the topics that we cover on this channel. So if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Please watch my videos all the way and give a comment and like and share. And I shall see you on my next one. Bye bye for now.